Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wench Bench, where friends sit and talk about fabulous fictional females and how their stories have influenced us throughout our lives. My name is Fonda.
And my name is Alison.
Today, Alison is going to be talking about Elphaba and Glinda from Wicked, the musical.
Yay!
Would love if we had the rights to play
Oh,
this musical note.
If only. Instead, you get to hear my horrible singing voice and Fonda's better one.
Aw, thanks.
So, for those who do not know, Wicked is a Broadway musical with music and lyrics by Stephen Schwartz and book by Winnie Holtzman. It is based on the 1995 Gregory Maguire novel, Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, which is itself a retelling of the classic 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, by L. Frank Baum, and the 1939 Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer film, The Wizard of Oz. So...
Based off of this.
Yes. I'm going to give you a couple fun facts kind of about the play itself,
okay.
And then we're going to just talk through a huge synopsis, and we're going to take a bunch of breaks to talk about how awesome this play is and how incredible the female characters in it are, because at the end of the day, it's just a bomb-ass play about female friendship.
It is. I got to see it live, not with the original cast, but
Yeah.
did I enjoy my time watching that musical live.
Oh, we're going to get into it. I've seen it twice live. The first time was on the West End when I took a trip to England. It was an experience, and we are going to get into it.
Oh, okay.
The original production premiered on Broadway in October of 2003 with Idina Menzel.
She plays
With Idina
Elsa?
Menzel, yeah.
Elsa from Frozen?
Yes,
Okay.
Elsa from Frozen. That's what a lot of people will know her as. Also,
She was in Glee, right?
I believe she was in Glee. She's dabbled in acting. She has an incredible Christmas album.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fabulous. We also just watched Uncut Gems, and she's in that movie. That's an intense movie. If you want to feel anxious for 2 hours and 15 minutes...
No.
Yeah, we picked a
No.
bad time to watch it.
No.
It was an excellent movie. Horrible time to watch it, because both my husband and I were not in necessarily a headspace to watch a movie about gambling addiction. But, she was in it. She was great. But yeah, so Elphaba is played by Idina Menzel. And Elphaba is actually what we will be calling the person you would know as the Wicked Witch of the West. So
Cool.
She's the green skin, black hair. And then we also have Kristen Chenoweth as Glinda the Good Witch. Kristen Chenoweth is in a ton of acting and stuff. One of the most recent things that I saw her in was the American Gods TV show. She
plays Mother Nature.
she
kind
plays
of?
Easter.
Yes. Easter.
Yes. Just the most petite, beautiful, sweet-voiced little blonde woman. But she is fabulous. It won 3 Tony Awards, 7 Drama Desk Awards, and a Grammy Award for the original cast recording album.
Ooh.
In 2019, it actually surpassed Les Miserables as the 5th longest running show on Broadway, with 6,836 performances. That's just on Broadway.
Wow.
That does not include any of the other performances.
Wow. Les Mis is good, though.
It's good. The ones above it are Cats, obviously.
I'm never gonna get Cats.
Cats is weird.
I've never watched it.
I have not seen the new movie.
I don't plan on
because it looks terrifying. I do love the weird costumes of the old movie. That's how I saw it. It's weird. It's a weird show about kitty afterlife and stuff.
Oh.
It's strange. Then there's The Lion King. I would love to see The Lion King one day. That's like one of my like top for actually seeing on stage. Chicago, I have seen that one on stage. Also an amazing one. And The Phantom of the Opera. Also have seen that one on stage. Also amazing.
Good for you.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah. I'm a huge theater nerd. On top of all my other nerddoms. In case people haven't figured that out yet. Its success led to many other performances all around the world, including on the West End, where I was able to see it back in 2007 when I was a wee grade 10 student. Just a wee girl.
A wee high school lass.
Yes. I actually also read the book, but it was actually possibly the first time in like my life that I prefer the adaptation to the source content, as it were. I enjoyed the book, but I just couldn't really like get into it as much. That's just me personally. I know tons of people who loved the book. I, in fact, enjoyed it so much that I have a tattoo for it.
Yes, she does. Yes.
Which...
It's a monkey.
It's a monkey. It's a flying monkey. It's got, like, a beautiful watercolor wing. It's incredible. I love it. We'll add that to our pictures of things to post for everybody. In March of 2016, Wicked surpassed $1 billion in total Broadway revenue.
Good for them.
Yes. Joining both Phantom of the Opera and Lion King as the only Broadway shows to do so.
Oh.
In July 2017, Wicked surpassed The Phantom of the Opera as Broadway's second highest grossing musical, trailing only behind The Lion King. It's pretty intense.
So Lion King must be really good then.
Lion King is apparently absolutely incredible. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it, and yeah, it's definitely on like when the world gets back to normal. It is on my list of things to see.
It's gonna be a little while.
A film adaptation has been in the works since 2004, and I want it so bad, but I also don't want them to change anything, which is the big issue. I pretty much just want it to be like they record the stage play, like they did with Hamilton.
Okay.
On Disney Plus.
Uh-huh.
Which I enjoyed.
Also very good.
I'm going to take a quick little tangent here about...
Here we go. Strap in.
My belief that there's like a theory floating around that theatrical performances are like the last great divider among like financial wealth in regards to media.
Okay.
Because media is so accessible now. Movies, TV shows, like everything. You can find it all. It's all on the internet. Having the financial capability of going and seeing these plays is a huge barrier to people actually getting to enjoy this form of media culture. And I think that is extremely detrimental. Throughout COVID, there has actually been a lot more things where they have been broadcasting plays, which I think is an incredible change, and I would like to see that happen more, so more people have an opportunity to actually watch these things, because not everybody can afford to travel to England or Broadway to see it on the big stage, and
let alone pay for an expensive ticket, depending
whether or not you can even actually get one. We got to see it on the West End because I was going with a school. So, like, it was different. It was, like, added into, like, a school, like, trip bundle. Mm-hmm. It wasn't me trying to travel there and get the ticket all on my own. I'm hoping that it's going to become more of a thing online where people can actually access Broadway productions, because it is such a fascinating and incredible form of art. Like, everything, dancing, singing, acting, like, you have to be good at it all. And then that's just the people who are on the stage. That's not even considering everybody behind the stage who made the costumes, who are doing the special effects, who are, like, organizing it all, making the sound perfect, and the music and the orchestra. And it's just this, like, massive production that I think more people should get a chance to enjoy, because there's just something beautiful about going and seeing a well-performed theatrical play. And I love it. So that's the end of that rant about
I just want to say, you don't have to be good at dance all the time. Lin-Manuel, he talks about you'll see he purposely doesn't do a lot of hardcore dancing in Hamilton.
He does not dance in Hamilton.
Like, it's very, I would say, comfortable, safe dancing for someone who maybe isn't a big dancer themselves. I just wanted to add that into your tangent.
That's different, though. That is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
That man.
People have to be good at everything.
So.
Or, I'm not sure, there's not a lot of dancing that, like, the characters Elphaba and Glinda do, but, like, the singing required to be Elphaba is, like, your vocal range has to just be bananas. Like, absolutely ridiculous. I would obviously suggest, if you can't watch it, go and listen to the CD. If you listen to it in order, you get a lot of the story anyways. So now we're going to start on the synopsis. So I get to tell you guys all about it. This is going to contain spoilers. I'm going to tell you the whole story. I don't think that will ever ruin the experience of seeing it, because listening to me tell you the story is not going to capture the performance of it. There's like a huge difference between that, but if you really don't want to, then I guess you can just listen to another episode and skip this one, but spoilers just in case you
Just in casesies.
to wait until you've listened to the music or seen it or whatever. That's your choice. So the story begins at a celebration of the death of the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba, where Glinda admits to having been her friend and tells the story of her past. Elphaba's mother had an affair with a traveling salesman selling green elixir. This resulted in Elphaba being born and having green skin. Her father resented her for this and instead doted on her younger sister, Nessa Rose. We move forward in time to Elphaba and her sister arriving for their first day at Shiz University, which is the wildest name for university.
Shiz.
Shiz. Dear old Shiz.
It sounds like a perverse name.
Sure does. When the headmistress, Madame Morrible, can you guess she's not a good person, tries to take Nessa away in her wheelchair, Elphaba shows that she possesses magic, and so the headmistress decides to train her as a sorcerer to maybe one day work for the wizard. Yeah, Madame Morrible is also, like, a very interesting, like, female character. She's, like, definitely one of the antagonists, but it's for, like, ambition.
Oh, okay.
She's a very ambitious character, and she kind of drives a lot of the problems that come in the future for Elphaba. And so it's really, like, interesting, because, like, her name's Madame Morrible. Obviously, she's a horrible person. Like, welcome to childhood fiction. Like, they telegraph it so much. But she is, like, a fascinating character, and watching her kind of, like, teach Elphaba while also, like, manipulating her, because she manipulates her a lot, is really cool. Elphaba and Glinda then end up as roommates, even though they loathe each other. They sing this incredible song called What Is This Feeling, where they just talk about all the reasons why they hate each other. A lot of it has to do with, like, Elphaba basically calling her, like, a dumb blonde, you know, a privileged dumb blonde, because Glinda is rich and beautiful and has everything. And she just thinks, she judges they both judge each other based on what they look like at the very beginning. As does everybody in regards to Elphaba. Everybody always, like, sees her green skin and they're like, oh my god, she's a monster, even though Idina Menzel looks incredible with green skin. If you see pictures of her, like, in her full costume, she can rock green skin. Don't think many people could. I think it's the cheekbones. We eventually learn from one of the professors, who is a goat animal professor. That's animal with a capital A. Those are creatures like that you would recognize as the Cowardly Lion, which are animal-looking people who walk on the two legs and can talk and have human intelligence. And he gets to one of the root issues in the play, which is that there has been a lot of discrimination against animals, and it's getting worse and worse. Dr. Dillamond's like another, like, he is the good teacher of Elphaba. He's the one who kind of inspires her to be kind to all. He sets a good example for her, and he's just generally a good person. But soon, everybody gets distracted by the handsome Prince Fiero, who shows up, who is also very rich, who is extremely cocky. He throws a ball on his, like, first day at school, and he sings about dancing through life and not caring, and how, like, what's one of the lines in it? It's, life is fraughtless when you're thoughtless. So as in, just don't think about anything. Ignorance is bliss, baby. And so obviously Prince Fiero and Glinda are, like, immediately attracted to each other.
Of course they are.
Because, duh. And there's another character named Bach, who is a munchkin lad. And he tries to ask Glinda to the ball because he has a huge crush on Glinda. Glinda's a little superficial.
Oh, no.
Just a touch. And so she convinces him instead to ask Nessa, which makes Nessa extremely happy. And that in turn makes Elphaba think maybe Glinda's actually not that bad of a person. And so that's kind of like the beginning of Elphaba and Glinda becoming friends.
Yes.
Of course, we get a little bit more snide catty stuff because Glinda gives Elphaba the stereotypical Wicked Witch hat with the big ass point and a huge brim.
Good hat.
It's a good hat. It's a solid hat. And she's like, oh yeah, like, it's gonna look great on you. Like, it'll look wonderful. And then when Elphaba wears it to the ball to try and, like, look pretty, everybody kind of just, like, laughs at her, and it's really sad. But Elphaba holds her head up high and starts dancing and starts trying to, like, enjoy herself. And then Glinda feels bad because that was mean. And so then Glinda goes and starts dancing with her, and the two kind of, they begin their friendship, which is adorable, at this beautiful ball, and everybody's wearing fabulous outfits. And we find out that Bach didn't want to ask Nessa to the ball, but Nessa is like, all in now.
Oh, yeah.
With Bach, and she's just like, this is the love of my life. I'm gonna fucking marry this guy. We're gonna be together forever. And he's like, fuck. But then she's like, oh, like, you asked me because I'm in a wheelchair. And, like, that's not why he asked her, but then he feels bad and he doesn't want to say anything. And so he's like, no, it's because you're beautiful. And then Bach is, like, the most nice guy stereotype you can imagine. And it does not end up well for him. But that's in the second half of the movie. Oh. That's in the second half of the play. So as a thank you for Glinda doing this nice thing for Nessa, Elphaba gets her into her sorcery classes. So now they're both getting to learn magic together. We get an incredible makeover scene, because what's a female friendship show without a makeover scene? It's called Popular.
It's a good song.
It's a good song. Gonna make you popular. It's a good song. Good song. I wish we could play the music for you.
It's one of my faves. It's catchy as hell.
A really interesting scene that sort of starts on seeing the beginning of the relationship between Elphaba and Fiero is Dr. Dillamond actually gets removed as their teacher because he's an animal. And they're
jerks.
They're trying to stop animals from developing, essentially. And they realize that by removing the thing that they do that they're passionate about, so things like teaching or art or doing these things that would require that humanity, as it were, you can then force them to revert back to lowercase animals. So they take them away from teaching, and then they bring in a small lion cub. And they're like, yeah, we basically take these creatures that are going to grow up to be capital A animals, and we keep them in cages and subjugate them and force them to never develop humanity. And Elphaba, obviously being our heroine of the story, frees the lion cub with the help of Fiero, and they share this very touching moment. And then you get a part where I really connect with Elphaba, where she's like, it's a song called I'm Not That Girl, and she's like, yeah, like, I'm not the kind of person a guy like this would be with. She is Glinda, that is who he would logically be with. And so it's this very, like, not self-deprecating, but she understands what the world sees in her and what the world expects of her, and it's heartbreaking and sad, but it's good. The final part of the first act of the play is where Elphaba and Glinda get to go to the Emerald City because they get to go meet the wizard, which is very exciting because both of them are starting to have magic again. Elphaba goes into her meeting with the wizard, and him and Madame Morrible basically trick her into turning a monkey into a flying monkey that they can then control and, like, use as helpful servants. There's a lot of subtext in this play. And learning that it's the wizard who's behind all this. So this great figure who is supposed to be doing good for their world, who's supposed to be helping people, is actually hurting the animals, and it's, like, hurting the people and causing issues with, like, Munchkinland and doing all of these things that she disagrees with. And so she runs away and sings a song that, like, by the end of the first act, I'm, like, crying in the theater when I saw it the first time. The song is called Defying Gravity.
It's so good.
Oh my god. It is just... Well, I think I talked about it in the Percy Jackson episode about Annabeth Chase, where there's just a piece of media that just connects. That was, like, this play, this song, like, when she started singing it, because she has to run away from Glinda, her first friend, the first person who ever, like, treated her like she was more than her, like, skin color and her, like, monstrous, like, magical capabilities. And she has to turn away from that. She has to turn away from the opportunity that the wizard could change her to look normal, like, because apparently he has the magic to do that. And that was, like, all she wanted was to be normal. And then she embraces the fact that she's different and that she has this magic and she has this power, and she's green and people will think she's scary, but as long as she's, like, doing the right thing, that's what's important. And she just sings about defying gravity and how everyone deserves the chance to fly. And just, she gets hooked up, like, the actress, whoever plays Elphaba, gets hooked up at the very end of this, like, around her waist, and gets hoisted up, and her, like, cape comes flowing out from behind her, and she gets lifted up above the stage with her, like, broom in her hand as she's flying away. And, like, it's just a stunning piece of skill, like, performed on stage, and it's absolutely beautiful. She's like, look to the western sky if you want to find me, and so that's where she gets her Wicked Witch of the West thing. And this is the beginning of her in the public eye becoming an enemy to Oz. And it's stunning. Like I said, like, I was, like, crying the first time I saw this. I actually cried at the end of the second time that I saw it in theaters too. But it's just, I remembered feeling ostracized for a long time and, like, just feeling different. I mean, a lot of people go through that in, like, high school, especially, like, going into something like grade 10. I had experienced bullying and a lot of different things like that throughout my years in school for being different. I found my confidence in my place in theater class. I found being on stage and performing as somebody else helped me to realize who I was. And then seeing this on stage and hearing the lyrics of the song, it just hit me. And so then I got the flying monkey because everybody does deserve the chance to fly, and so do I. So yeah. The end of Act 1 is, like, I will never forget watching that play. Like, it will be in there forever. And I was so happy and, like, pleased that it came to me in a time when I needed that. And it helped. And it hit good. And I love it. I was like, Elphaba. But then, like, of course you have, like, Glinda's story as well throughout the first act. We're seeing her become a better person. And we're seeing two very interesting stories that are running parallel to each other, where Glinda is this, she was already confident. She already believed in who she was and everything. And Elphaba helped her realize her privilege and how there was more to the world than just being rich and being popular. What's the point in having that if you cannot use that to make the world a better place? So then we get into the second half of the play.
The second half is a ride.
It is a fucking ride. This whole play is such a ride. But it's so good. It's such a good play.
It really is. Thank you to my husband who bought me tickets in 2014. I'm glad I got to see it.
Yes.
Because it's so good.
I actually loved it. I took my mom and my mom's best friend.
Aww.
So it was like me and my mom. And it was like me and two like middle-aged ladies all dressed up, and we went for dinner, and it was awesome. Some guys tried to take our cab.
Oh.
Yeah.
Rude.
It was so great though. We had such a marvelous time. So for Act 2, we've moved forward a bit of time, and Elphaba is now known worldwide as the Wicked Witch of the West. And Glinda has become Glinda the Good, and is essentially the face of the opposition, and is engaged to Fiyero now. So those two are engaged, although it seems like she's regretting some of her life choices, because she's all of a sudden been thrown into this where she has to publicly denounce her friend, who she cares about a lot still. And then Fiyero's there as well, and Fiyero also, like, still kind of maybe loves Elphaba inside a little bit. So there's that. Little fun love triangle. And we actually get to see Nessa, who has now taken over. Their father was the mayor of Munchkinland, and now Nessa is the mayor of Munchkinland. Unfortunately, with her station, she has removed the rights of all Munchkins so that Bach can't leave her, because she essentially, like, owns him now.
Oh no. What's that called? What's that called? There's a thing for that. When you're entrapping. But there's like a. Fuck! I hate when I forget terms!
Words!
Ugh! Continue. Fuck me.
So now basically Bach can't leave her because they, like, Munchkins now have no rights in the world. She took it all away.
Isn't she a Munchkin though?
No. So they're technically like humans. So Munchkins are different than humans in this world. So
her family, were they the only human-ish people in Munchkinland?
The play doesn't super get into it. From what I remember in the books, it's kind of like a class issue. So a lot of the upper class are humans in Munchkinland, and then the Munchkins are kind of like lower class, like workers and stuff.
Okay.
But that's kind of also implied in the play as well, that it's like you have your ruling class of people who believe that they're better than other people because of their race.
Great. Okay, love that.
Lots of subtext to this play. If you like,
love that.
We don't really good. like dig into like that because we're focused on like characters.
Yeah.
But
okay.
There's a lot there's a lot of like articles and stuff that dig in more on like the actual piece of work that is Wicked, the play, and it kind of discusses all the different like nuances and things like that. Very interesting to read. Not something we have time to get into.
I only asked because I was like, is this like a thing where like the government is stationing a different person to rule over a place that they shouldn't, or are they actually part of the community? And you answered my question.
Yeah, like they were born and they grew up in Munchkinland, but they're considered
upper
better
class people. Okay.
Which is bullshit. But
anyway, so she has basically trapped.
Yes, this guy, because he wouldn't be mean, which is unfortunate. So to try and convince Nessa to join her cause, Elphaba makes her magic ruby slippers that allow her to walk. And Nessa excitedly calls for Bach, thinking that her being in a wheelchair is why he doesn't love her. Not realizing that it's because she's a bad person. and has nothing to do with her wheelchair. And she wasn't even a bad person when he didn't like her at the beginning. He was just trying to be nice. Yeah. And then it kind of, like, she let it all, like, dwell and, like, turn toxic and allowed her own sensitivities or her own self-consciousness change her into something bad. Mm-hmm. And that was very sad. But she calls to him, and Bach shows up and thinks, this means she doesn't need my help anymore, so I can leave. And then Nessa gets very upset and steals this magic book that Elphaba had received from the wizard and tries to cast a spell. But because she cannot read the spell, it basically takes his heart away, and so he starts to die. And so Elphaba saves him by turning him into...
the Tin Man.
The Tin Man.
Oh, fuck.
So now Elphaba has created the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah.
And she has created the Tin Man.
Though the creation of the Cowardly Lion wasn't really... like, she just let the lion go.
Yes, but they kind of explain it in... I believe it's the song The March of the Witch Hunters, where it's like, she never let him fight his own battles.
I'm sorry, sir, but you were a young cub.
You were a baby.
I feel like no one should let a young baby of any race fight for themselves when you can give them an easy... not an easy, but when you can be like, here is the door to go.
Yes.
You may do with that what you will, but here's the door.
Yeah.
So
funny.
The Cowardly Lion.
The people I was talking to, like the people who I went and saw the play with after that first act, I was like, oh my god, that's the Cowardly Lion. Two of the people who were at the play with had never seen The Wizard of Oz, and so they're like, who? And I'm like...
Oh.
Who the fuck are you? How have you not seen The Wizard of Oz?
What? Even if you haven't seen it, I feel like people know about it. Kind of like they know about, like, Darth Vader being Luke's father. Like, that's not something you can just not know of anymore.
And I was just like, I was flabbergasted. So yeah, and then Elphaba runs away because Nessa's now mad at her because somehow this is Elphaba's fault, even though that's not what it was.
Blaming other people.
It's a lot. Elphaba then goes to free the monkey servants from the wizard, where he does his best to win her over to his side. But she ends up catching a glimpse of Dr. Dillamond, who is now unable to speak. This enrages her, and then the guards are called, and Fiyero is actually there to help her escape from the castle. And then the two run away, and they express their love for each other. It's such a good song. And they escape. Fiyero actually directs her to go to his castle and to hide out there and wait for him. During all of this, Madame Morrible, the wizard, and in extension Glinda are trying to figure out how to catch her. And Glinda lets slip about Nessa, her sister. And Madame Morrible uses this information to create a trap, which has to do with a certain house.
Yep.
That many may remember from that. But Glinda didn't realize that whatever they planned to do would kill her. So that's a bad time.
Yep.
Elphaba had caught wind of this, but arrives too late, where she argues with Glinda about everything that happened. But the guards also arrive, and Fiyero tries to stop them, to give Elphaba time to escape, which she does, but then the guards take Fiyero into a cornfield, where they string him up, while Glinda is essentially begging for his life. And Elphaba runs away and sings just another in a long line of incredible songs. No Good Deed, where she sings about how no good deed goes unpunished. How she's trying to do all these good things and nothing's working. And the emotion in her voice as she casts this spell to try and save the man that she loves, which turns him into...
Scarecrow!
So, there's a part where she, like, just sings his name. I don't even, like, have words.
Alison did a lot of hand gestures.
It's just so good. Actually, I think because you can have 6 seconds, so I'm just gonna play the name part. Give me a second. Alright, I think that was 6 seconds. So, it's a very emotional song. Like, it's just such an incredible, again, another, like, incredible moment of transformation for her. She goes through all of these changes. And we do focus, obviously, more on her story, but Glinda, at the same time, is also going through, like, every major transformation Elphaba is going through. Glinda is going through, like, a minor one on the other side. So, while Elphaba is mourning and fighting against this and trying to save the people she loves, Glinda is losing them. And she's watching them, like, slip through her hands, and she is unable to do anything, and she is powerless to stop this because of the system that she has found herself in. And it's just the dichotomy and the difference of their two stories running parallel is really what, like, hits home these stories of these two very different women and how they have reacted to the world around them. So this is where we're really, like, coming to the climax of the play. So we get the mob that forms in the Emerald City. Now, Elphaba has captured has captured the girl from Kansas, has taken Dorothy and her dog, and everybody has to go rescue them. You have the Tin Man and you have the Cowardly Lion, and they're going to lead the charge. And Scarecrow's going to be there too, and they're all going to go, and they're going to find Elphaba at this castle where Fiyero had sent her. And then she receives a letter saying that he, in fact, died. And Glinda shows up first, before the mob, and the two forgive each other, and they mourn for this man that they both loved, but there's no, like, conflict about the fact that he was in the middle of the two of them, which is a
really nice.
A small part of the many reasons why I like this show, but, like, not having two women who like the same guy be at each other's throats and be, like, shitty to each other is, like, huge. Mm-hmm. Like, they both loved him, and they both think he's dead now. And they forgive each other, and it's so cute. Because they're just friends, and it just didn't work out, and it's, like, it's this tragedy. Like, the things that they could have done together had the world been a kinder place. And Elphaba's basically like, you can do it. You can do all those things that I can do. You have that power. It's there. Like, you're in the system, as it were. Like, people love you, and you're poised and clever and smart and capable of doing good. And she kind of passes on the torch because, like, it's this really sad thing that you can do everything good and for the greater good. But unless people see it as you doing those things for the greater good, you can still be seen as the villain, no matter your intentions. And Elphaba knows that. She's like, I can't do anymore. I can't help anymore. But you can. And it's so sad. But it's so, like, happy. It's such like a complicated ending to a beautiful story. And as the mob shows up, they cast the bucket on Elphaba, and she melts, leaving behind only the pointed hat that Glinda had given her and a small green elixir bottle, which is what the salesman was selling and which is what her mother drank, which turned her green. When Glinda eventually takes this, goes back to the wizard before the wizard goes back to where he's from, because he's from Earth, as many of us know. Yep. I guess I can't say that as a blanket statement because I had two people prove me wrong. But as, like, many people know, the wizard goes back, and this is because Glinda confronts him. And he recognizes the bottle as his, realizing that he was, in fact, the salesman and Elphaba's father. And Glinda basically uses this as blackmail to force the wizard to leave. She's like, nope, you're gonna leave. I'm gonna be in charge. She imprisons Madame Morrible. She, like, takes this power and, like, emboldened by her friend, discovers that she can do better and she can be better. And she doesn't just have to be the pretty popular girl. She can actually make a difference. We kind of get like a little, like, not a flashback, but we get like a side scene where we realize that Elphaba actually just secretly disappeared into like a trapdoor. So she knew that she could never live the rest of her life without people following her. And so she faked her death by pretending that water hurt her, which at one point Fiero's actually like, water will melt her? Like, are you kidding? Like, this is stupid. But then she used that to her advantage and faked her death. This part's like a little bit confusing and I never really understand, but suspension of disbelief. Fiero shows up knowing that she's in this trapdoor and knocks, saying that she can come out. So maybe she knew he wasn't dead. It's kind of hard, but I don't care. Because I think Glinda and Elphaba get the letter together, which is why it's confusing. It's been a long time since I've seen the play, and unfortunately it's not anywhere online to watch. So I couldn't watch it again. But some behind the scenes planning happened, and Fiero shows up as the Scarecrow, and him and Elphaba leave Oz and Munchkinland together to go and live out their life peacefully, hiding from the world that rejected her, which is sad. And knowing that they cannot tell Glinda that she's alive because that'll ruin the whole plan. And it's very sad.
That's so sad.
It's so
Just to be like,
sad.
I can't tell my one friend who I truly trust.
Yeah, who I truly trust and love, and
Because it will somehow ruin my plan.
yeah, and like people can't know that she's still alive, and it's so sad. Like people have to believe she's dead, and
Yeah.
the less people who know those kinds of secrets, the better. So
Heartbreaking.
the play ends back at that celebration at the very beginning, where Glinda's at the party, and she promises everybody who's in attendance that she is going to earn the name The Good, while she quietly mourns for Elphaba and Fiero.
Oh. So sad.
It's so sad. It's such a good emotional play. I do have a couple quick bullet points on specifics of why I like obviously I talked a bunch about why their story is interesting, but there are specific more detailed moments. So Glinda starts as this stereotypical vapid rich girl with this incredible story arc where she goes from being somebody who is incredibly self-obsessed, does not care about the world around her, to giving up everything to be a better person. And that's incredible. Yeah, like watching her kind of expand her worldview and realizing that there's more to life than what she was told is a lovely story to get to enjoy. There's one song specifically called Thank Goodness, which she sings after the intermission. And there's this really beautiful, bittersweet tone in her voice where she sings about how she has everything she's ever wanted, but was it worth it? You hear her sadness. She's like, I'm engaged to the guy that I love. I got all this power. I'm loved by all. I got it. I reached the pinnacle of success that I was told I should get to. And yet I feel bad. And it's like, oh, Glinda.
Glinda,
She's
baby.
so good. And then in the final song that they sing to each other, her and Elphaba, it's titled For Good, where they reconcile. And there's the one line that's, who can say if I've been changed for the better, but because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And it's
Good line.
oh my God. It's so good. So she's this incredible, she kind of weirdly reminds me of Elle Woods.
Yes,
She gives me a lot of Elle Woods vibes, especially in the song Popular, where she sings about looks and stuff, and it's just Elle Woods with all of her pink and her blonde hair, and it's very that vibe, but then the deeper layers, and she grows as a person, and it's beautiful. So for Elphaba, I can't even encompass how much I love Elphaba. She's clever, intelligent, powerful. She's an activist. She's kind-hearted. She was treated badly because of who she was and what she looked like. but she never let that make her a bad person. She was perceived as a bad person, but like, that wasn't her intention ever. She just wanted to help people and make the world a better place. And she spent so long being shackled by these responsibilities to take care of her sister that were put on her by her father, who hated her because he was pretty sure she wasn't his. But like, yeah, she had to take, like, they forced her to take care of her sister and always put her first instead of herself. What I connected with the most was that desire to help, to change things. Like, I am more so now than I was back then, but I have put myself out there, and I've done a lot of like activism work, and I do a lot of things to raise money for causes that I believe in, and to take part and to do stuff for causes that I care about. And I just felt so trapped in myself and in my self-consciousness, and like I had no confidence in like high school, and I wanted to do these things, but I didn't have the confidence to do it because I felt trapped by other people's perceptions of me and what it is that they thought that I should be, instead of just being myself. And then she was herself.
Which is a beautiful story.
I always loved The Wizard of Oz. Like, it was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. We had it on VHS. It got so worn out that it was one of those ones that didn't have the cover on it. It was just like the white case. So it didn't even have like a cover there. Nice. I watched it all the time, and just, it might have something to do with that, like where I was in my life, whatever it was. But this, like, it will always hold a special place in my heart. And like the characters of Elphaba and Glinda are like the pivotal part of that, is like these two women who I could take lessons from and take examples from and see like their story and their struggle and get to experience that. And it just hit and was important at that time and will now forever live in my heart.
It's in mine too, so I get it. Yeah. I get it. It is a very good musical for multiple reasons. One from like the story to like a lot of the cool effects and just the songs. Like, there's a lot of reasons I think a lot of people can enjoy Wicked. Yeah. Because it is a wicked musical. It was a low-hanging fruit and I took it.
Sure was. You're like, yeah, that's for me.
That's for me. Check.
Yeah. And there's so much that can, like I mentioned, there's so much to be dissected about the play. If you have other people who have seen it, if you've seen it.
Oh, I'm sure
I would love to talk to more people about it.
Yeah, I'm sure universities for drama or playwriting, like even literature, I'm pretty sure there's some professor out there, more than one most likely, that will probably use Wicked. Yeah. For some sort of example.
Yeah. Like, because there is so many metaphors. There's so many things. There's so much that you can just, like, dive into. I could probably talk about this play for, like, 4 fucking hours. No.
We don't have time.
We do not have time for that.
I wish, but...
And that is not what this podcast is about. But if you want to chat, you can send us an email.
Or at Alison specifically on Twitter.
At me.
It's like that the opposite of the Jeff Goldblum gif where it's like, don't at me.
Yeah.
You're being like, no, please.
Like, get at me.
Get at me.
Like, let's do it. So that's why I love Glinda and Elphaba and Wicked. What are you excited about, Fonda?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. So, for those that maybe have listened to it, maybe haven't, Magic the Gathering is coming out with a new block set for Innistrad, which has Arlen Cord in it, the badass werewolf mom of my dreams. I don't know yet if it's going to be a double-sided card like her other one when she first got introduced, or if it's going to be 2 different cards. I'm going to share the art and then maybe I'll share it online too. I retweeted it on my own Twitter, so there's always that. But the set is called Magic the Gathering Midnight. Ooh. It's very neat, very cool. Obviously vampires, werewolves, demons, all the like. But Arlen's new art, the first one's called The Pax Hope. Ooh. And the other one's called The Pax Fury. And I would love to share the picture. I'm going to show Alison right now. So that's one of them.
Ooh, very nice.
She's just standing so, like, like, I don't even know what to say. She's just badass. And then here's her werewolf form.
That's awesome.
I know, I love her so much. So truly, I'm just more so excited for... I'm probably gonna buy a bunch of magic cards just in hopes I can get her.
Yeah.
So I can pull her.
You're like, please.
I love her so much. So that's what I'm excited about, is a card from a card game.
That's still awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I think so too. Our dear listeners, you can find us wherever podcasts can be found. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We have a Facebook page at Wench Bench Pod. And if you want to reach out, please do, whether it's like on our Instagram, our Facebook, or our Twitter. You can also send us an email at wenchbenchpod@gmail.com if you want to give us some movie or TV suggestions. We've already gotten a couple from some listeners that I'm writing down. And as always, all of the art for the Wench Bench was designed by the wonderful Tessa Joyce Riecken. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at Werevile. And thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I was like, I covered that.